You've identified three big shifts that we're in right now. I'm kind of curious to hear your take on all three of these. One is from institutions to individuals. The second is from courses to systems. And the third is from knowledge to judgment. I'm curious if you could kind of unpack the three of those a little bit more, because those shifts are interesting.
Okay, I think it's important to understand or question the definition of organization or company to start with. It's a huge company employing hundreds of thousands of people, making $1 billion of revenue, working in, say, 10 different large markets of the world. But that reality is true only for few people. As organization, I might still be a $1 billion company, but employ only two people. What is the role of learning and development or skill in that such a company versus a traditional company which is running for last 50, 60 years? It's already $1 billion, but is it going to be there for the next 5 years, 10 years, 50 years? I don't know. So we need to contextualize the definition of organization for yourself and then look at these shifts. So when I'm looking at moving from institutions to individuals, with the amount of layoffs happening, and also the biggest impact I feel that AI is having on workforce is not the layoffs that is creating. The biggest impact is the fact that it is limiting the creation of new jobs. For example, when Infosys or a Wipro or IBM came into being in India, it created a workforce. It became a $1 billion business, but it also created a workforce of 200,000, 400,000. So the income got distributed to a larger population. But now companies, so $5 million, $10 million, that wealth is getting concentrated in one or two individuals because that's just a one-man company or two-man company. This stage is happening. How much we should also understand when we study the average tenure of working professional today in a company. I think it's around 3 years. So considering all these factors, companies also will start questioning. If I already know that my employee today is not going to be there after 3 years, how much am I going to spend on learning interventions? At the same time, from employee, they will also start thinking, if I know that, irrespective of whether I do 70 hours a week or 100 hours a week, I sacrifice my personal life for my company, but the company may actually let go of me just over an email or maybe in a tweet at some point of time. So how much of that commitment is there? So I need to take care of myself. Therefore, I learn what I believe is good for me in my understanding today. So that shift cannot be managed unless you are very transparent of in your communication, because I think I do believe employees are smart. The second part is to move away from that mindset to create a system which is self-servicing. So you are moving away from the role of just curating a set of courses to your work, to your team, to creating a system where there is tools, there are workflows, there are communities through which you can work, and also you are creating accountability for yourself. So how are you measured on the efficacy of that training program? How many people did complete that course? So how many people clear the assessment with say 80% score, which not doesn't really work in real life because everybody wants to know what's the impact on my top line or my bottom line. So that transition needs to happen. And I think when we move from a course to a system, I think we'll be able to see how much of the learning interventions can create impact in business and therefore become more sustainable. The third thing, as I said earlier, everybody has knowledge. So then what is your role? Your role is to therefore critique that response. Your role is to judge whether the response is relevant to you. And how do you build that ability is very much you have actually done that in the old way for say 5, 10 years. Now somebody who's entering the workforce, how do they do it? They never got an opportunity to do that. So there probably if you'll have to spend weekends to do that extra projects, do that volunteer work so that you can build those domain expertise and therefore build that intuition which will lead to judgment.